Hi all, you are watching a fragment of the countdown program from February 22, 2024. Today is Thursday. See our full programs on the Patreon resource. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. I'll talk about the themes of the postscript later, but for now about the most important thing. According to military experts, the war in Ukraine has finally taken on the character of a positional war. It is noted that Western assistance to Ukraine has been greatly reduced. The army of the Russians, having received reinforcements, albeit of poor quality, nevertheless began to press the Ukrainian Armed Forces on several sectors of the front precisely due to their numerical advantage. But this is still a war of attrition without noticeable changes on the front. Observers believe several factors could change the course of the war. The first is drones. Drones, sea and air, have the potential to change the nature of war. But by themselves they cannot liberate or seize territory, since this requires infantry and armored vehicles. This means that we still cannot do without conventional weapons. The second factor is fighters. Ukraine is seeking the transfer of Western fighter aircraft to it from 2022. Now Denmark and the Netherlands are promising to jointly supply it with more than 60 F-16 aircraft. In this case, the number of cars plays a big role. Fighters can indeed change the course of the war if there are enough of them to do so. Much has already been said on the topic of military assistance as a third factor of success. Interruptions in the supply of Western ammunition and weapons have already led to the weakening of the Ukrainian army at the front. For example, the lack of ammunition has already led to the fact that the Ukrainian armed forces were forced to leave Avdiivka. Although European aid to Ukraine is growing, the upcoming US elections could lead to a reduction in supplies to Ukrainians. Republicans are drying up the topic of supplies and delaying a decision in Congress, under the influence of Trumpists. The fourth factor is mobilization. They have been talking about it for a long time too. Moreover, if in Ukraine they are arguing about it, then in Russia they are simply waiting with horror after Putin's re-establishment. It looks like both warring sides will be forced to carry out another mobilization. And finally, the economic factor. The economy of the European Union has been restructured in a militaristic manner for a long time. Still, it is market-based and does not work by order, which cannot be said about the cave Putinomics, which in 2023 was put on a war footing by order, and even showed an increase. The reason for the stability of the Russian Federation is in huge budget expenditures. The Kremlin spends a lot on the war, and this money is already smeared throughout the entire area of Putinomics. Some people get more, and there is a constant struggle for this. Others are doomed to eternal cuts, like, for example, the social sphere. But this cannot go on for long. The militarized schematomics, dependent on budget money, is already overheated and is unlikely to be able to grow at the same pace for long. If the economic crisis itself does not change the course of the war due to its nature as geopolitical hallucinations of the leadership, it may increase social tensions to which the Kremlin and Putin will have to respond. Become our patrons right now and look further in this program. The Kremlin continues to fight. Russia is considering the possibility of refusing to implement the Soviet-American Agreement of 1990, according to which the maritime space of the Bering Strait was demarcated. Grandpa Joe starts to get angry. During an event in San Francisco, he called Putin a crazy son of a Peskov has already reacted and called these statements shameful. The IDF continues its ground operation in the Gaza Strip, while starting to negotiate with residents of the northern Gaza Strip regarding the establishment of local government structures not under the control of either Hamas or the Palestinian Authority. Farmers from all over Slovakia came to Bratislava on tractors to protest. They criticize European bureaucracy, the Green Deal and insufficient protection of European markets from imports from neighboring Ukraine. Watch in the program, Postscript. The Biden administration is considering a series of new executive actions and federal regulations in an attempt to curb migration at the U.S. southern border. Donald Trump could lose a significant portion of his property if he fails to pay an unprecedented fine for civil fraud in New York. With accrued interest, Trump owes the government nearly $454 million, an amount that will increase by $87,502 every day until he pays. And that is all. See our full programs on Patreon. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. Hugs to everyone. See you tomorrow on Friday Live. Glory to Ukraine.